Hey everybody, Thomas Joseph here, and I am answering a kitchen conundrum that you all have asked, and that is how to make a perfect cream puff. A lot of you are having problems like this. You have a sunken or deflated cream puff like this one here, or a lot of people encounter a cream puff like this guy. It's too doughy, and you don't get that pocket inside of the cream puff for your pastry cream fillings or your whipped cream. What you really are looking for is something like this, a very light cream puff that has a wonderful pocket in the interior that's ready to accept any of those delicious fillings. So today I'm going to show you how to make a perfect cream puff just like this one. So I have a cup of water here in a medium-sized sauce pot. I'm going to put that over medium heat, and to that I'm going to add 1 stick of butter. You want to melt these ingredients together. This is the traditional method of making pâte à choux, which is the paste or dough for a cream puff. I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of coarse salt and 1 teaspoon of granulated sugar. So the water-butter mixture is up to a boil now. I'm going to add 1 cup of all-purpose flour right into the pot. And you're going to take your wooden spoon and mix this all together. And this paste you have to cook for about 2 to 3 minutes, stirring constantly until a film forms on the bottom of the pan, which is doing right now. I'm going to turn off the heat and transfer this now to a bowl, just so it can cool slightly before we add the eggs. And the eggs are the main leavening agent here that gives you that nice pocket in the center and such lift to the cream puffs. So our dough has been cooling for about 3 minutes, and now I'm going to add 4 whole eggs. 1 egg at a time, add it, and then stir. Now this separates into pieces, and it doesn't seem as though it's going to come together, but with a little bit of elbow grease, this dough will come back together, and once it does, that's when you add your next egg. And the last egg. So the dough should be sticky, not slick, and it should be stiff enough to hold a peak when you remove a spoon or if you touch it with your finger. So it is holding a stiff peak here. And so now I'm going to transfer this to a pastry bag fitted with a 5/8 inch tip. Now pâte à choux is such a great dough in that you can make so many different things with it. Not only can you make cream puffs, but you can make eclairs, you can make a croquembouche with all of your cream puffs that you create. And now for the piping. Now one trick, and we do this often when we're making things that are sticky like meringue or cream puff dough like this, take a little bit of dough and just put it in the corners of your pan, and take a piece of parchment and just stick it right to the pan. And what this does is it helps keep the parchment on the bottom of the pan, so when you're piping the sticky filling out, the parchment paper doesn't lift with you. And I'm going to pipe them out into 1.5 inch circles. So press down. Once you get to the size you need, swirl the tip. This is what you don't want to do. You don't want to pull straight up because you're going to end up with a point like this. So pipe and then spin the tip so that you don't have such a pointed top. I'm going to separate these by a couple of inches. This recipe makes about 28 cream puffs. What you can do if you get any of these tips is just wet your fingertip and gently press down, because if you do not, they will end up burning in the oven. And now, to give that wonderful golden crust like we have here, you need to brush the tops with a little bit of egg wash, and that will give you a nice golden shine. Make sure your oven is preheated to 375 degrees, and these cream puffs will bake for about 25 to 30 minutes. Do not open your oven while these are baking, because that will encourage them to collapse. So our cream puffs are out of the oven, they've cooled completely. To fill the cream puffs, flip them over, and I like to use a small paring knife like this and just make a little X in the bottom. And I have some pastry cream in this bag here, and I'm using a very small tip. This is about a 1/4 inch tip, whatever the smallest tip you have. Take the pastry tip and push it into the cream puff and fill it. You should be able to feel the weight of the pastry cream going into the cream puff itself. And there you have it, a perfectly filled cream puff like this. If you wanted to make these for a party, you could even top these with a little bit of cheese before you bake them to make gougères, which are cheese puffs. But you have to remember those 4 tips in making pâte à choux like this, and that is When you're cooking the dough, make sure that you cook it long enough so that a film forms on the bottom of the pan, and incorporate each egg before adding the next one. Bake them at a high temperature, like 375 degrees. And of course, you have to bake them long enough, so don't pull them out of the oven too soon. So there you have it, Cream Puff 101. With these tricks and tips, you're sure to have success in the kitchen, and your kitchen conundrum is now solved. Enjoy.